And we are live. It's time to get started with Summer Camp 2022, Session 3, The Ins and Outs of LinkedIn with Olivia Jackson. So, Olivia, if you're ready, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you guys for being here and coming to my session. Like I was saying, as everybody was logging on, I can see my presentation, but I can't see you guys and I can't see the chat. So Jeff is going to graciously monitor the chat. But if you have a question, please speak up or put it in the chat and Jeff will let me know. So with that, we'll get started on the ins and outs of LinkedIn. Let's go back to the beginning. We've already gone to the end. Okay, so of course, people that know me know that I love a good theme. And so I decided to choose Time to Set Sail. So welcome aboard the LinkedIn yacht here in Orange Beach, Alabama. I'll be your captain, and just some fun facts about me. I've been with CSU for about 6 years. Surprisingly, this is my first time being a summer camp counselor. I'm an amateur baker and I am the self-proclaimed LinkedIn guru. I don't have a degree on LinkedIn, but I do feel like I'm the guru. So with that, let's set sail. We're going to go over some basics, some do's and don'ts, and just how to create a standout profile, or once you get your profile created, how to stand out. I didn't know the range of people who were going to be attending, from basic to expert level. So I kind of wanted to give just a very broad overview for everybody. That way, nobody feels left out on their skill levels. So jumping right over onto Basic Island, we're going to be discussing profile picture, your background, your profile sections, and your feed that you see. And along the way, I'll give some cute little LinkedIn facts. As we move into profile picture, LinkedIn is very popular. It has about 7.22 million members. So when you think about that, that's a lot of profile pictures. That's a lot of faces. When you're getting on there, you're trying to connect. So here's some tips to kind of stand out and make your profile picture the best that it could be. First off, you need one. You're more likely to get 21 times more views if you have one than versus leaving it blank with the gray little outline of the cartoon. And then you're 9 times more likely to get more connection requests. People love to see a friendly face, and especially if you're trying to reconnect with colleagues or someone that you met at a conference. For example, my name's pretty common, Olivia Jackson. There's probably like 6 or 7 Olivia Jacksons out there. So if you don't have a picture, it's also kind of hard for people to find you and connect. You also want it to be recent and looks like you. I'll use myself as an example. The profile picture that I had before starting this PowerPoint was a little dated. That was pre-30, before I became a natural blonde when I turned 30. So I decided when this PowerPoint empowered me to change my profile picture and really bring it up to date, because if I'm going to be encouraging you guys to do it, I'm going to do it as well. So you just want it to look like you do, again, because people finding you and you've met them somewhere, and you want to connect there. You don't want someone to be like, wow, they look extremely different in their picture than they do, in person. And then in your picture, you do want to dress appropriate for your role. A lot of times, you will see people that are in business, in their shirt and ties or an appropriate blouse. But say, for example, I connect with a lot of people in the OSH industry. Their profile pictures are with their hard hats on, maybe their safety glasses, t-shirt. That's totally appropriate for their role. When they go out on a site visit, you probably aren't going to find them in a suit. You're going to find them in their hard hats and, their t-shirts and different things. So you want to be appropriate for your role. And you don't want to be too overly done, but you don't want to be underdressed. So always keep that in mind. And then long distance just doesn't work. We can't see you. We can't, nobody can make out who you are. And it's just almost like not having a picture because, we're having to get out our binoculars. Who is this? So with that in mind, with these tips, we're going to move on to some examples. And I like to use myself as an example along with other people. I've done my best to edit out their names or any titles that might give them away if you might know them. But all of my examples in this PowerPoint are people that I'm actually connected with. So none of this is pulled from the internet as far as like Google. It's pulled from my actual feed. So we'll start with me. So for example, this profile picture is such a really great picture of me. However, it's just a little cheeky. It's a little too fun. It's a little too playful. And I don't want to give anybody any kind of vibes that I'm a firefighter and that I'm going to be able to rescue you in the event that something happens, because I most certainly cannot. But I wanted to show you, while this is such a great picture and, it's fun and playful and it does show my personality, LinkedIn, this is just not for LinkedIn. This might be a good Facebook profile picture, might be a great Instagram picture, but I really think it's a little too cheeky for LinkedIn. Our next profile picture that I'm giving an example of is this man. He, like I said, long distance just doesn't work. We can't tell who he is. We can't tell his face. We can't even see his PowerPoint that he's presenting on. So, it makes it hard if he's trying to find business or clients to really connect with him, because they might not be like, oh, this might not be Joe Smith from, X, Y, and Z company. I can't really tell. Our next example is a little grainy, and it is of me, pre going blonde. Like I said, this PowerPoint and this summer camp has really inspired me to update my picture. While this is a great professional headshot, I just look a little different these days, and have gotten a little wiser, a little older. So, I just felt like it was time to retire this beautiful shot and move on to something more realistic. So this is not a recent up-to-date picture of me. So this is a don't. And this friend, this man, he is an actual connection of mine, and this is actually his profile picture. Where to begin on this profile picture? LinkedIn is a professional business networking site, and what I know of this connection, he's not in the liquor distributing sales. He's not a distributor. He's not employed by Crown Royal. So this is definitely a no-no. This is a hard pass on LinkedIn. This is wildly, to me, in my opinion, wildly unprofessional to have this as your profile picture. This might be a great Facebook picture if you're showing like you're just the cool dad and you like throw the ragers in the summer, but definitely not for LinkedIn. Our next example is another gentleman who is, and I left his headline there because this one for me, and I want to kind of hear what you guys think about this. Um, is it's kind of in the middle for me. While it's not an accurate photo of him, like it's not an actual photo of him, he is in video editing, he is an animator, and he's in marketing. So I I consider this okay, and I would just like to hear kind of what you guys think about this one because it is one in the middle, and if you guys think it's appropriate or not.
Hey, it's Jeff here. I think it's actually appropriate since he is an animator. That gives it. You still can kind of see what it looks like, but
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
may be
agree.
wrong.
I agree. I think it's appropriate.
awesome. Yeah, I tend to lean that way as well. So, I just wanted to show, throughout
Oh,
this presentation, just throw you guys some examples and, get your feedback as well.
yeah, Christina Conti said she would like to see it more of a secondary picture than his primary.
Yeah, that's a good one. It could feature it. I can show you where later on. I'll show you where maybe this would be a good photo to feature at the top of his profile. So moving on, we do have one more example, and that's me. This is now my current profile picture. It does look a little bit, it is me. This is me, what I look like these days. Like I said, natural blonde, and you're seeing me in my element, what I do day in and day out for CSU, connecting with our alumni. So I do feel like this, while it's not an up close, headshot per se, I do think it fully exhibits my role and what I do. Some articles that I've read to prepare for this says that the ideal photo is having your face take up about 60% of the frame. Um, yes, if you do want to do a traditional headshot, but if you have a role or you do something that is more engaging or forward facing, customer facing, student facing, and it might be, maybe you're engaging like this at a conference, or maybe you're, helping out in the community or something. So it's just really something, it is the first impression that you make when people see you. So always keep that in mind when you're selecting that photo. So we're going to move on now that we've gone through the profile pictures. And like I said, feel free to chime in if you have any questions or need anything, or if I'm going too fast as well. The next little island we're going to hop to is Background Island. Backgrounds. So the background is the right behind your profile picture. There's, a bar. A lot of times people leave it blank, and it is also gray. But what the background does is it works in tandem with your profile picture. It allows you another visual element to describe yourself, or describe what you do, or describe what you're passionate about. So I just encourage you, if you don't have a background, there are tons of sites on Google. If you just type in the Google and, LinkedIn backgrounds, there are tons of free backgrounds that you can go through and see what relates to you. Or, if you're a little tech savvy, you can create your own. So I just encourage you to add that because, like I said, it's another visual element to describe yourself. You do want to keep it simple. You don't want it to be too busy. You don't want it to take away from your profile picture. You don't want it to, have like a novel written in there. If if you're writing a little quote or something, you don't want it to be too long and take up a lot of time, because part of it is covered by your profile picture. So, and like I said, it shows a little bit more about you. So
Olivia,
yes.
so we had a question. Would a simple scenic photo be acceptable?
It's such a great question. Yes. We're going to actually move to the examples. That it's like she or he knew my PowerPoint. because I do have an example of that. So these are all examples of some what I consider great background photos. So we're going to go here to Mr. Long Distance is what I'm going to call him. And while his profile picture is not up to my snuff, his background picture is. It states what he does. I know that, you know, Mr. Joe Smith here, he's who I can go to for emergency preparedness. You know, if I need some mitigation, I need some recovery, he's my man. He's in this business. So for me, I feel like this is very appropriate because it does, you know, give an element to him of what he does and what he represents. The next one, great question, is a nice scenic picture. It's very tranquil. It's very, for this particular example, this is where this man lives in this area. And it, you know, peaceful and calm. And it could be subconsciously a reflection of this person. You know, maybe they're, you know, peaceful. They're not, you know, loud and bold or something like that. Maybe that's how they are. So yes, I think a scenic photo is quite appropriate. And then this gentleman here, he has a call to action. How do we get to yes? This particular individual is in the Navy, and he works with veterans. He works with current sailors. So his is all geared towards tying it into his profile and his job as to how do we get a yes. I think it's a great call to action. It's bold. It's there. It's not too small, but it's also not taking away from his profile, in my opinion. And then we'll use me as an example. You know, this shows that, you know, beforehand you couldn't tell that I worked at Columbia Southern in my old picture. So, you know, this background shows that I worked there, shows that I represent them, you know, not only out in the public, but in the internet world on LinkedIn. So, you know, while, you know, it's not necessarily about my personality, it is about what I do and who I represent for my job. So, these are just some examples. I haven't really seen any bad backgrounds. I've just seen a lot of no backgrounds. So if you haven't already updated, I just, as soon as we get off here, I need you to go and update it.
Already done.
Perfect.
I didn't even realize it was an option.
So great. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you've already updated. And we're going to move on to the profile section. So if anybody that knows me knows I'm really punny and I love some puns. And so we're going to use the profile sections and we're going to take a dinner cruise on this LinkedIn yacht. So the profile sections are going to be your appetizers, your main course, and your dessert. So we'll just dive right into that appetizer. What I consider an appetizer is the introductory section. It's your name, it's your profile picture, background, your headline, education, where you're located, the industry you're in, and how people can contact you. You know, that's just the brief overview. So if somebody comes across you and they click on you, this is the first thing they're going to see. This is everything that they're going to need, a quick, brief description about you. And then from there, you know, if they want to read more, they, you know, will scroll down. But typically this is one of the most impactful sections, I believe, in LinkedIn, just because, you know, it's your number one, it's where you go, it's what you're seeing first. So some of these other sections, like the headline, for example, we're going to go over in a bit, but I just wanted to break down the different sections for you guys before we kind of dive a little deeper into them. So that was the appetizer. And, you know, this is typically, and I'll show you a live shot of my profile. This is very, you know, number one, like right there at the top of the screen. You don't even have to scroll. As you can see a little bit closer, it even gives you the analytics of who's, views your profile and different things. So this is, the number one piece. Then moving on to the main course, it's your about section, your experience as far as in chronological order, your previous work experience, or if you have interned anywhere or done an externship, that's where this would be listed as well. Any sort of licensing and certifications, and I have volunteering with an asterisk because if you are in like the nonprofit sector or you've worked in the nonprofit sector and you really want to highlight that time, volunteering would definitely be something that would go in this section. Or if that volunteering experience directly correlates to what you're doing now and has helped you get to where you are today. But I also have it listed in the next section as well. This is a little bit closer view about the about section and the little bit of experience. But what I'm going to do now is we're going to go to my LinkedIn. And I'm going to show you a little bit closer view of the different sections that are in there. Like I said, that introductory, that appetizer is right here. We don't have to scroll. We don't have to do anything. It's boom, right there in your face. And then from there, there is a featured section, which is also what I would consider an introductory. This is where, for example, the guy that I had you comment on being an animator in his picture, I believe this would be for, the comment about it being a secondary picture. This would be a great place to feature that, to feature his work. This is where I feature, for example, the Blue Wahoos game, or we have commencement coming up. I also have, some personal stuff where I'm going through the Studer Community Institute. But this is a great place to highlight your work, highlight the big accomplishments, big certificates, anything like that. And then you can see my activity, which is neither here nor there. It's just kind of a section, and you can kind of move it around too. You can tailor this. But here's my about, where I consider the main course. It's sort of like a cover letter, sort of not, but this is the section. This is about you. This doesn't have to be, cookie cutter. Writing, you can write about your experience, write about the changes that you've made, within your position. This is for you to brag about yourself, to stand out. One of the ways to stand out, but one of the ways that you can humbly brag about yourself and everything that you've accomplished. Mine's relatively short. I just have written about, brief experience at CSU and then where I'm currently at in the position. But I've seen some that are very long, just because they have a huge experience in, their industry. And then I've seen them this size. So it's really up to you and what you want to add and what you want the LinkedIn world to see. Because LinkedIn has about 57 million companies that are on here. So, in addition to the 7.22 million, you got all these companies. So people are reading through this, people are seeing it. So, as you're writing or coming up with something about yourself, make sure it's something that, you're not afraid to share with the world. So in the experience, this is where you can list, your previous work experience. And then they've recently added this skills section here to highlight some skills that you've gotten, in your current position and former positions. So they really even, within the year have updated LinkedIn as well to keep, highlighting these skills and these transferable skills that, you learn and then you move on to the next position. You can highlight them sort of like a resume. And then,
Olivia?
yes.
Oh, we had Julia comment saying that she heard if you're an older person, it's best not to put all of your experience because it gives your age away. Is that something or?
I I don't disagree. However, um, it really just depends on what. I only have the last 6 years. I ended up taking off what I did in graduate school while it was a full-time job, and I worked 40 plus hours. I just felt like it was a little dated, just because it is about 6 years old. Well, 7 years old now. Oh, goodness. But yeah, it's really up to you because if you have a skill set, a select skill set, I wouldn't be afraid to list all of that because it just makes you stand out, in my opinion. It makes you like, that's the reason why you would go to this person, to ask the questions, to get advice. However, if you've bounced around and you've been a banker, you've been a sales associate at a clothing store like I have, in college you bounced around, or you just you like to dabble in different jobs. You like to do different things. I would maybe try to narrow it down a little bit and keep it within like a 5-year range, similar to what you would list maybe on your resume. That's a long answer, but I hope that helps. So yeah, this is the experience, the middle section, and then this is where you list your education there, and then your licensing and your certifications if you have them. Don't be afraid to put them up. This, like I said, is your place to brag about yourself, brag about your work, your experience, your training, anything that you've learned. And then so then we'll go back to the presentation. And then dessert. I consider volunteer experience part of the dessert, skills, recommendation, languages, and publications, because who doesn't want, a sweet treat, a dessert at the end? These are just extra yays. These are just extra like ticks to show you off. Like, these are just extra things that you have just gone above and beyond, in my opinion, to set yourself apart from others. So we'll go back to my LinkedIn, and I have my volunteer experience that I've listed. The skills, which when you're listing your skills, please know that only a few show, so you can move those around to list your skills in a certain order that you want people to see them in. That you want to tailor it to you and what you want people to see first about you. Then your recommendations. Again, if you have a lot of recommendations, you can move those around and put those in, whether it be a chronological order or, what's more relevant to the position you're in. You can do that as well. And then any kind of publications, any kind of presentations, and then your interest. And like I said, this stuff can be moved around just because mine is set up this way to have publications towards the bottom, because that's not necessarily my day-to-day or even year-to-year role that I do. I don't publish a lot, so it's not something that I feel needs to be at the top of my profile. But if you are, for example, I know the advisors, some of them go to NACADA and they present every year on different topics or even the same topic. That's something, in my opinion, they should be highlighting closer to the top of their profile, their presentations.
How much information should be shared in the byline of the skills section?
In the byline
of the skills section?
Right here?
Yeah, I guess in the skills. Yes, right there.
Yeah, so I think whenever you add a skill and you edit it, you have corporate outreach representative, but I think you can type anything there, right? Or you could leave it blank. So I was always kind of unsure what you, yeah, like,
Yeah, you can, and this is new. This is kind of new to me too. I haven't dabbled in the skills section in a minute, but yeah, you can, like for instance, we're kind of doing this on the fly, but here you can email design. Yes, I definitely do that in alumni relations. I don't do that at Loft. I fold the clothes at Loft every one day a month. So I definitely don't need to be clicking it there. So yeah, definitely this is great for you to tailor that to where these skills can drop in under that experience as well. Thank you for chiming in and letting me know, because this is definitely very helpful for when you're going through and you're like, dang, what have I done? What have I learned? What skill sets? And this kind of helps you with that. So
yeah, it's a lot of information too. So I just wasn't quite like how busy does it really need to be? Or should it just like maintain the core of that skill?
I think maintaining the core of the skill, and I don't necessarily think that I'm gonna go through and do all of these like through my licensing, through any kind of certificates. I'm not gonna go. For me personally, I'm not going to go through all that and do all that, but I definitely would at least do it through experience. Whether you want to do it for the other ones is, completely up to you and how much time you have on your hands and what you want your LinkedIn profile to look like. But for me, the basics and, making it, making the most of my time and where I'm going to put the most resources is going to be right there in the experience.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And then we were going to go, we've already been there. So now that we've finished up our dinner cruise, we're going to go to your feed. So this is when you log on, this is what you see. This is the home page, not, what you can see in all of this. So the first right here is start a post. Very much like Facebook, very much like Instagram. This is where you can, upload a photo, right? Put in your article, upload a certificate, and then say something about it. You definitely, always want to say something about your post, and I'll get into that, a little further along. And like I mentioned earlier, the pink arrow goes down to, it's sort of like a mini profile that you can see on the side with your picture, your headline, and then it gives you some analytics as far as who's viewed your profile and the impressions that your post has made. For this particular one, I do think it's about the Blue Wahoos baseball game that the Alumni Association's hosting. So that post had 477 people look at it, scroll past it, or engage with it, which is nice to see. It always is a feel good to see, oh, people are looking at my profile. And then over here with the green arrow, LinkedIn has included some news, quick articles for you to read. And then if you have never read the LinkedIn articles, it's very brief. And then towards the bottom is a bunch of opinions written by different people. And so, if you see something that you're interested in and you want to read a bunch of different opinions, LinkedIn News is great for that. And then with the light blue arrow, you see over here some places that you've recently visited, some groups, any kind of sessions that you have visited and signed up to attend or watch, any hashtags that you're following, so you can keep up with whatever's going on within that hashtag. So that's kind of my version of the basics. And now we're going to move on to some do's and don'ts. So LinkedIn, let me grab my notes. So TikTok is not Facebook. Facebook is not LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is for business and networking. TikTok is for entertainment. Facebook is also sort of for entertainment. It's also for more local and connecting with family and friends. So as we move through the do's and the don'ts, just keep in mind, all just because it's a social media platform doesn't necessarily mean everything can go on LinkedIn. So the first thing that I encourage you to do, though, is to share your learning and training. If you take a LinkedIn learning course, post it to your feed. Show everybody that you are professionally developing yourself. Let everybody know that you still got it. You're still in the game. That you still want to learn. Everybody loves a continuous learner. Also, if you have to take some training for volunteering, like for example, I volunteer for my sorority, I have to take a bunch of courses ranging from diversity and inclusion to mental health and different things. I'm using that time. It's something that I will use and I can use in my job. But also it again shows that you're learning, you're continuously learning, you're continuously growing, and just show it off. Because this is, again, like I keep saying, this is about you. This profile is for you, about you, and a place for you to brag. However, don't be creepy. This LinkedIn is not for dating. As you can see, this is an actual conversation that this gentleman attempted to have with me. And I, don't have it. Don't be creepy. We're not trying to date here on LinkedIn. That might be, Instagram, that might be Facebook, that might be Bumble. Definitely a no on LinkedIn. Don't do it. Don't be creepy. Do show off your conferencing and networking opportunities. If you're going to a professional conference, show it off. Show your pictures that you're learning, you're having a good time, you're connecting with industry colleagues, what you're learning about, the sessions that you're attending. Like for example, this picture, they had a quick chat, as you can read. They had a quick chat, and they're met, and they're networking. Let's do that. Let's show it off. Let's show that you're growing and you're connecting, and you are wanting to be a part of your industry. You want to learn more about your industry. Don't get too personal. Again, LinkedIn is not Facebook. While it's great to, put, I'm away due to my wedding, or for example, I'll use myself. Recently went on maternity leave, and I, made a post about being promoted to, the role of mother, left it very vague, However, this, in my opinion, is a little too personal about bachelorette and wedding shenanigans, your girl tribe, your daughter, your bonus daughters. That is so great. And I'm very happy for this person. But this is not for LinkedIn. And these photos, not for LinkedIn. Okay. Moving along. Do give kudos and recommendations. If somebody makes work fun for you and you're connected with them, give them a little shout out, give them a kudos. Who doesn't like, having a little virtual high five on LinkedIn saying you make work fun, or I like working with you, or whatever the kudos may be. And if you've had a great experience with the vendor or with a previous colleague, do give them a recommendation. It's a little boost, especially, sometimes when people are transitioning between jobs. That's usually where I've seen recommendation requests come through. They're looking to bolster that. It's to me, a recommendation is, what is the word? I just lost the word. References. Sorry. That's the word. References. So it's like a mini reference, but on your LinkedIn. So I definitely encourage you to do that. So now I have another example for you guys to chime in, and I want to know what you guys think about this particular post. So tell me in the chat. I thought I'd be able to see the chat or chime in or let Jeff chime in, but here's a little closer view of this butte. So take a minute to read it and then let me know what you think.
We're getting a general consensus of no, that is not appropriate.
Okay, I am glad that I'm not the only one that doesn't find this appropriate at all. Okay, good to know. Are there any examples of what makes this inappropriate?
The language in it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Olivia, Caitlin, over here in career services, there's so much, so much wrong with this. But yeah, I'm gonna let everyone else answer. But I'm appalled.
Like I said, all of these are real life examples from my LinkedIn feed. These are people that I'm connected with that I see. I wish that some of these people did not do these things, but they have, and they are now in my PowerPoint to show you guys what not to do. Okay, so if I'm not hearing anything, obviously I can't see anything because I can't see the chat. But we'll move on. I'm glad that everybody has the general consensus. This is not good. So now we're going to move to how to stand out a little bit. So now that you've created your LinkedIn, you understand the sections, you understand your feed. How do we, make your profile stand out? How do we get people to look at it? How do we get people to engage with you? The first one that we're going to hop to is Headline Island. The headline, it's much more than your title. This is 120 characters for you to list your interest, any specialties, any certifications, anything that you want to show off in 120 characters. And don't be afraid to get creative. We're going to dive a little deeper into mine. Mine says alumni relation and engagement, social media, higher education, event planning and logistics, student recruiter, and amateur baker. I will say, out of everything on LinkedIn that I fiddle with, this is the number one. I changed this. Gosh, I think every 2 months, I take something out or I'll add something, just because I like to see what pops up in my feed. So your headline is used as one of the metrics, as one of the analytical tools that the search engines use to, put stuff on your feed, present you to other people's networks, is used if you're looking for a job. This is extremely important in that. This is what LinkedIn, one of the biggest things LinkedIn uses to tailor LinkedIn to you and what you're wanting. So I call this, in a lot of the articles that I've read, this is like a small billboard for yourself. Where you can advertise, that one-liner, that tweet about yourself that, you're going to pin to the top. So I will say, I dabble with mine. I move it around, play with it a lot, just because I haven't found anything that, for me has stood out. But it's a work in progress. And I will say, if you don't have a headline or you don't think you have a headline, you do, because LinkedIn defaults your headline to your current position and company. So if you've ever seen under your name where mine has all this information, yours might say academic advisor 2 at Columbia Southern University. That is changeable, and that'll help tailor your feed. That'll help tailor the searches. That'll help tailor your whole experience in a way. So I encourage you to just play around with it. Like I said, I change mine, pretty often. But don't be afraid if you find, something that you like or a phrase that you about yourself. Don't be afraid to not change it. I just haven't found anything that, I'm like, yes, that's 100% me, or, something. So also don't be afraid to change.
Hey, Olivia, Ashley
Yes.
Bruton says it's actually 220 characters, not 120. So
Well, my
I don't know if that's
articles
true.
are wrong then.
She could be making it up. I don't know. We just never know with Ashley, but I believe her.
Or the article that I pulled that information from could be outdated and LinkedIn changed. It is the internet, and we are in 2022 these days. So my totals might be from a different year, but
Okay.
thank you.
Sure.
You have 220 characters. Just kidding. Now we're going to move over to Make Connection Islands. So now that you've done all this hard work, you have the perfect headline, the perfect profile picture, perfect everything. What's the point of having it if you don't have any connections? Nobody's going to see this beauty. So don't be afraid to send the connection request. I encourage you, if you haven't really, you don't have a full network, I encourage you to reach out to previous and current colleagues. That's a great way to build your network. I've connected with a ton of people at CSU. Why? I want them to see my accomplishments. I might not know everybody at CSU, or we might not, have had more than a 15-minute conversation, but I want you to know me. I want you to know me professionally. I want you to know, how I can help you. So I feel that, making that connection, especially with your current colleagues, is important. And especially in this remote world that we're living in, with the, back in the day, so to speak, when we were all on campus and we could get together in person for summer camp, we would meet people. Now we're having to do it virtually. Sometimes I get on a meeting and I've never met somebody, in person. So, your LinkedIn is also can be used, with your current colleagues to be like, hey, I'm your colleague. Let's chat about something, or you have this in common with them. Another thing, connect with your industry experts, especially in the safety field. I have a lot of safety connections because when I was a corporate outreach rep, my niche was occupational safety and health. I wanted everybody in the occupational safety and health world to know that CSU is number one in occupational safety and health. I didn't care if I didn't know you. I did connect, and I would always put a note and say, hey, I met you at such and such conference. Great to meet you. Let me know if I can ever, help you with your education, and connect with them. I want them to see CSU, so that's kind of how, if you're in a specific industry, you can connect with people. And that's my example with occupational safety and health. A good network is considered 300 to 500. I've also heard over 500. Once you get to 501, it will show 500 plus connections, or there's a phrase, it's losing my mind. But it does, the more connections you have, the more visibility you have. So with that and making these connections, Like I said, if you don't know somebody, I do encourage you to write a note as to how you met them, or how you might know them, or your mutual connection. And the connections they go from first degree, which is a direct connection. You're already connected with them. Whether you know them from work and you've connected. A second degree connection, where it says second out by their name, it's usually because you have a mutual connection, whether it be, usually it's a person, like, you each know somebody, or you might work for the same company. And then third degree, if you ever see somebody with the 3 beside their name on your feed, you don't have a connection with them, but it's probably showing in your feed because someone in your network that you are directly connected to, a first connection, has liked their post, their article, and so that's why you're seeing it. So the connections are very important, because this is how you get seen, and everybody sees your profile. But just know, those are the degrees that LinkedIn has sorted people out for you. It's tailored. Those connections are tailored. The degrees are connected to you, through the people you know. So that's about making connections. And then, so now that you've made all these connections and you're up and going, to just keep moving forward, and keep relevant, you want to stay active. This is an avenue, LinkedIn is an avenue of access, just like Facebook and just like Instagram. Similar algorithms in the sense of, if you don't post for a month, nobody's going to see you in their feeds. Or if you're not liking or commenting on people's things, you're not going to show up. So you want to make sure that you are, not only posting for yourself or resharing articles or, commenting. You want to make sure that you're staying on there and staying consistent. Because if you're not consistent, you're not, especially if you're trying to grow your network and you want to be seen or you want to be published, you have to be proactive. We all get on Facebook multiple times a day. We all get on that Instagram multiple times a day. Add LinkedIn to that. Go through and like people's posts. To me, it becomes just as addicting to me as Facebook and Instagram. I have it on my phone where I can like articles, I can read articles. I feel like it might be a little more educational than scrolling through Facebook for 6 hours. But you just want to stay active, because that helps you stay relevant and people find you. You want to post quality content, quality imagery. You don't want to post anything grainy. I know that in my PowerPoint, one of my pictures is very grainy. It's not grainy on LinkedIn. It's just kind of how Snapshot or whatever our program is, has blown it up. You don't want to be posting that kind of stuff. You want to be high quality, top notch. Like I said, commenting, you want to engage with people. That's the whole point, is to network and comment. Join these groups. That's where you can comment the most. If you have, for example, I'm in, an academic advising group. I'm in a student affairs group, all stuff that is very relevant to me and things that I'm actually interested in. Just because we work in higher education, you might have an interest, like for me, in baking. I haven't found a baking group on LinkedIn, but if I find one, I'm going to join one. You want to have professional, arenas, professional groups, but maybe there are some hobby groups too that, are on there that are, you can maybe get tips and tricks and different things, but it's not the groups. I'm probably not going to find a baking group. Let's just be honest. It is for professional networking, but, some professional interest. and follow the hashtags. Or the boomers call them the pound sign. The millennials call them the number sign. The Gen Z only knows this sign as hashtag. Follow hashtags. As you saw in my profile right under my headline, talks about hashtag CSU EDU, hashtag CSU nightlife. And then you saw on my recently viewed, I have hashtags that I follow because I want to see what's trending. I want to see what's trending in that particular area under that particular hashtag. A lot of times it's for conferences, and I want to see when their registration would open, when they close. Maybe they've gotten a cool headline speaker. But you can follow any hashtag. If you are in the College of Emergency Services and you, I don't know, advise firefighters, you might want to see what's trending. You know, you might be like, oh, I kind of want to know what they do. You could follow the fire hashtags. Also, like I've already mentioned, LinkedIn Learning. That's a great way to stay active, not only, you know, for you, but, you know, posting to your network too. Like I said earlier, you want to show off that you're a continuous learner. And then endorsements. You can ask people to endorse you, similar to a recommendation, but it's really just saying, oh, yep, Olivia's decent at public speaking, or Olivia's great at talking to strangers, or, you know, whatever the topic might be. There's, you know, people can do it on their own. Sometimes LinkedIn prompts it. Or you can ask people to endorse certain skills. So that is about staying active. And I believe we have ended our sale on the, you know, LinkedIn Yacht. Saved exactly 4 minutes for any kind of questions, anything. And I do have the works cited island. I'll quickly run through. If anybody would like access to these links, please let me know. I will throw them in a Word document and email them over to you so you can see where I've pulled some of these facts from. So with that, any questions, any comments, any concerns?
Hey, it's Jeff. I was just going to say, you said keep your LinkedIn content high quality and top notch. Well, this presentation certainly was. I really enjoyed it. It did not seem like an hour had gone by.
Oh, thank you. That's what I was hoping for. I really wanted you guys to feel engaged, and
It was very
like
engaging.
LinkedIn can get boring. LinkedIn is not like one of those topics. But I'm a pretty, you know, I like to be jovial and funny and, you know, make people laugh and smile. So why not bring that to a relatively boring topic?
That's all right. Well, we ended with Bethany had 3 points, Julia had 1, and Ashley had 2 points. So I'll get to give them it's not a gold star, but a black asterisk in the chat there, because we can't afford gold stars right now.
Woohoo!
But
Woohoo!
thank you so much, Olivia. I don't see any questions coming in chat. We can give them another minute or so.
Okay, and if you think of anything or want me to look at your profile, just hit me up in the Ring Central. Like I said, I am a self-proclaimed LinkedIn guru. I did not go to school for LinkedIn. This is just from me to you. But, you know, I love LinkedIn, and I love teaching or helping folks with their LinkedIn. So that's why I call myself a self-proclaimed guru.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I guess we'll go ahead and end it there. And thank you everyone for attending, and we'll see you in the next session. Thanks, Olivia.
All right. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.